Good afternoon for the rest of the people who left for the second day of this amazing conference. Thanks for having us. So today we're going to talk about the TapToPay solution, about stablecoins, about CBDCs, about the future we are all going to. So I remember back in the days in 2018, I was living in Ukraine, and I remember the day when Apple Pay appeared in one of the biggest banks of Ukraine. I immediately installed it, I attached my card, I went to the small grocery shop, and I remember that lady, she was selling, I don't know, water or ice cream. I tapped my phone to the POS terminal, and she didn't know that Apple Pay was a thing then. And she was like, what are you doing? Like, you tap the phone, not a card. That was the first time when I interacted in person with something like TapToPay. I've heard it a lot before, but that was a thing that felt like magic. Yeah, when you don't need a physical card, you understand that everything that we're going to do in the future will be inside our phone. So first it was curiosity, then it was a feel of a magic, and now it's a routine. So by the stats, in the European Union, 81% of all the in-store payments are done contactless, by either contactless by card or your phone, Apple Pay, Google Pay. In the United Kingdom, it's more than 90% that all of the payments are done contactless by TapToPay. It means that we're all going, apart from the physical banking cards, going inside the terminals, and we are all going to the future when we know what to do with our smartphones. Shifting to the crypto, we have the solutions like crypto banking cards, I would say. When you can top up your card with some stablecoins, USDT, USDC, you can attach it to your Apple Pay. I won't drop the names, you all may probably know it. And you can go and spend somewhere in a retail shop, you can buy grocery stores, but there are pros and cons. There are great initial steps for crypto moving to the fiat. But anyway, it's a good crypto management. Yeah, when you can easily, without thinking, spend your USDT, the merchant will receive either Euro, USD, or whatever region you are, and it's user-friendly. Yes, people understand what is like a neobank. People understand how to easily deposit USDT, for example. But the problem is that the whole crypto management there is under the full custody of the company who is doing the collaboration between the bank and them at the crypto company. And also the dependence on the external regulations. We all know that for the first years when it appears, everything seemed like magic, because I went to the shop, I spent my USDT even like by usual POS terminal, but after a few years, regulators came and say, no, you cannot do like that. You should do it like this. Here are the set of rules. And we understand that each country, by the time they will come up with some more and more regulation, and it may be a problem. And most of these cards, they use stablecoins, right? And during the whole bull runs, when we had, for example, DeFi in 2019, 2020, then we had NFTs, now we have meme coins. During all this time, we had a quiet stablecoin revolution. When stablecoins became the norm, they started back in 2014, when the first companies tried to make some stablecoins because volatility was a problem. And they say, like, okay, we should start doing some stablecoins. And Tether was the first companies that came out from those experiments. They made USDT, you all know that. And then when they became the backbone of maybe all the liquidity in 2018-19 of the DeFi products, they became the first product as a stablecoin who was considered as something serious. After that, Circle and USDC came up okay, we want to comply with US regulations. We want to comply with the governments, because governments they were concerned already. They didn't know what to do with that, but they were still concerned. So today, stablecoins, they already have like the whole capitalization, 250 billions plus in capitalization. The whole transactions per year are trillions per year for all the stablecoins, and the whole remittance of all remittance, fiat, stablecoins, everything, stablecoins are 3% of the whole remittance. So governments, they were concerned first, and then they decided, like, okay, we need to do something with that. We need to come up with some stable coins by ourselves. And then we found a CBDC, like central bank digital currency, around like more than 130 countries. They already like overviewing different approaches to how they run their own digital currency. Over 50 plus projects were launched as a pilots, and we can outline maybe 3 of them in a different perspective. China, I guess, is the most successful one with their digital currency as the mass adoption, one of the really successful projects. India is one of the most successful experiments. They're still running it as an experiment, but more on the successful side. And Nigeria, as an example of eNaira, they have 98% of inactive wallets, and it was considered a failure just because of lack of mass adoption. They didn't know how to make people use eNaira, and people were not trusting them as a government. So there was a failure considered by them as well. And then we are moving to the concerns of the government and the crypto community. Like, okay, we have a lot of money stored in crypto somewhere, and why it is happening, why the hacks are happening. And the amount of the hacks, amount of the money being stolen is being like every year it's become more and more money. So in 2024, we had $2.2 billion stolen from the whole crypto community. Only in the first half of 2025, we had more than 2 billion already. So we're already exceeding 2024. And in 2025, we had the biggest single hack in the history of centralized exchanges. I don't want to name the company, but you all know that. So it's a big concern what is happening in the hacks of the crypto community. If it still remains the trend, and according to chain analysis, all these stats that I named, it's according to chain analysis, they say if all remains the same, the projected loss in 2026 is around $4 billion. That's even more than for the last 2 years. The problem comes from how the currencies are being stored, yes? And we can make some kind of a hierarchy of what do we have. So first, most of the people, most of the traders, people who are newbies to crypto, all of us, we keep our money on exchanges, on centralized exchanges. It's good to have some money on exchanges, but we all know that it's not that safe. Yes, especially after FTX, a lot of people realized that maybe I should keep most of my money, most of my savings, not on the centralized exchange. And we're coming up to the next level as the hot wallets or software wallets. There are a lot of names, but it means that you have a dedicated application, you have your seed phrase, but everything is inside your app. It's some kind of a compromise between okay, it's not an exchange, but it's still your seed phrase, your private key is stored inside your mobile phone application, etc. Those who are more concerned, they're like, okay, I need to come up with something more secure. They say, I will use something physical, like a hardware wallet. We'll know Ledger, Trezor, etc. And the problem is they're secure. There are some concerns, of course, there always will be concerns, but this is the most secure way for now to store your crypto. But it's too complicated. I spend a lot of time, back in the days, I was talking to people who had money. They're they don't know about crypto at all, but they made some money, I don't know, buying Bitcoin early and then selling it on the highs. And they say, okay, I have $1 million in USDT. Where should I keep it? Ledger. Okay, can you help me to set up a ledger? Because I tried by myself. I was trying to install the Ledger Live. Then I didn't realize how to set up a seed phrase, how to write it down. So it was too complicated. It felt like a rocket science to them. And for most of the people in crypto, it still feels like a rocket science. It's secure, but it's not accessible. So what's the next step? Yeah, so there should be some kind of evolution of how the custody is going, because if the hacks of what we were talking before are still going on, we still have a problem. And users, all of us, we are users. What do we want? So first of all, we want simplicity. We live in the times when we are lazy. All of us are lazy. We spend like hours like scrolling TikTok. We don't want to do anything. We want everything to be simple, accessible, and easy to understand. We don't want to spend hours to understand how the product works. We want it to be transparent, especially after some situations with hacks, etc. Everything should be transparent, how the product works. If it is something custodial, how the money are stored, how the custody works. So a lot of like regulation stuff, trust and transparency, of course. The privacy, a lot of stuff during the last 10 years happened in the privacy of data privacy, users' privacy, how we don't want to share our data with some third-party companies, all the GDPR stuff that happened in the European Union. So everything related to the user data privacy is also important. And of course, the sovereignty. So when you want to keep your funds safe, it means that you need to have a control of your funds, right? It means that you want, in every moment, be able to do something to send it anywhere, and you don't want to relate or be dependent on some other company for them to store your money. You want to have access to your funds. So 3 years ago, we came up. Me and my business partner, we were on a business trip in Africa, meeting the CEO of one of the biggest financial companies in Africa. And they're not related to crypto, and they actually don't like crypto at all. They told us, like, we don't understand it. If we don't understand it, we don't want to relate it at all. But we have a problem with the mass adoption. We understand that we want to spread our financial tools to our users. We still have problems with our central bank, with the banks. The financial system is not stable. So they were looking forward to some CBDCs, stablecoin, etc. And they told us, like, if someone comes up with the idea when the crypto is just an invisible layer and people will not even understand that it is a blockchain tool or a crypto solution, they will just use it on a daily basis, then it may be interesting. So the idea is that when people are using the wallet, there is always a trilemma. Like in all the blockchains, like all the companies, they spend a lot of time trying to solve the blockchain trilemma. We decided, why don't we create a crypto wallet trilemma? Yes, when there is security, self-custody, accessibility in one form, where there is always a compromise. You will never find a perfect solution, but when you can use the card as the form factor, when you can use the chip on the card as the way to securely generate the private key, to store the private key only on the chip of the card, and then if you want to send a transaction, you just need to tap a card. You don't need a cable, you don't need a laptop or a special software on your laptop to send a transaction. You don't need to spend 5 minutes to send, 1,000 USDT from your hardware wallet. You can do it in one tap in a few seconds. And we had a lot of lessons learned from the crypto before. A lot of money were stolen, a lot of money were lost just because the access to these wallets were lost. People were not educated, people were very bullish, and people sometimes forget where they store their money, and the USB hardware wallets, they're too complex. And people want to have control their money, but they don't want it to be too complicated. So if crypto goes beyond all the speculation, and if we calm down a little bit, and if we try to understand how we can securely still have access to our money, how we can manage it, how we can trust ourselves with being in control of our money, then it will become invisible. Then all the CBDC projects, then the governments, financial systems, payment networks can get a lesson from us, and we can together as a crypto community show them that it is not only about speculation, and all the concerns about mass adoption can be solved by building sustainable tools where users control their money and where governments still may be very confident about the mass adoption and how it will be used on the daily basis. So thank you for your attention. My name is Danylo, or shortly for Dan. If you have any questions, please.
Yeah, questions? Anyone? 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 How secure is this key on your card?
It's a good question. So if we talk about the card, I guess most of you have been at our booth. If no, so there is a chip in the card, and all the magic of the hardware wallet happens here. Because we have made a software for the chip. The chip is already certified by the manufacturers who made these chips for banking cards. So when the card is new, it's empty, so there is no private key. When you tap your phone with the card to activate it, the private key is being generated on the chip, and it never leaves the chip. If you want to sign a transaction, every time you need to tap it with your phone to confirm the transaction, because the private key is here. It's the same when at Ledger you press 2 buttons to confirm the transactions. The same you tap here. So the question of security is that private key never leaves the card. The second layer is the communication between the phone and the card. We use NFC as the first layer of technology to communicate between the phone and the card, but NFC by itself is not a secure way, because then we use the second layer above is a FIDO, F-I-D-O. It's a protocol above the NFC that gives us possibility to make an encryption communication between the card and the phone, and it is used on a system level with iOS and Android to support the encryption of the communication between the phone and some third-party device. So it's a second layer. And the third, we don't have any backend, any servers, so it means that we don't store any data elsewhere, but on the card. So I guess I answered your question.
Oh, there's another one.
Hello, my name is Arthur. I have a question about recovery.
Yep.
Yeah, in the case of the losing this card, is there a way to recover?
Of course. When you set up, you have a seed phrase. So you write it down. Actually, seed phrase is a private key just in the friendly view for the user. So the private key itself is just letters and numbers. And the seed phrase, when you first activate the card, it's being displayed in our app. It's a web app or the application. So you write down your seed phrase, keep it somewhere securely. So if you want to restore, you can just restore it with a new card and your seed phrase.
Is there a way to set up guardians or like recover from other private keys?
Not yet, but in the future, I guess yes. If we hear more feedback from the community, yeah.
Is it physically possible to access the private key?
No.
By the with the chip you said?
No.
Okay.
Hello. How long it can remain if I dig it, for example, in my backyard under the ground in some box?
As it doesn't has any batteries or microelectronics depending on some. So I guess years or decades, I can safely. Everything that can happen, maybe the chip will get some erosion under the ground. So better wrap it with some plastic bag, and that's it. But for years, I guess it will remain there.
Why do you need a chip if you like this physical access if you have NFC?
There are two things. NFC is just the way to communicate. So actually, the chip has its memory, and there are algorithms. So we made a software that is running inside the chip, and the NFC is the way to send the data from the chip to the phone. So it's like two different things.
Okay, but what is the physical contacts? What are they for?
To sign the transaction, because the private key is not here.
Ones,
this one. Okay, that's a good question. So actually, there are different chips, right, on the market. This one we have the contact on the top, just because it's a little bit thicker than a card itself, so it should be displayed. Plus, in the future, it may be used with some kind of POS terminals if we make some collaboration with some national payment systems or something like that to use with some contactless or chip payments.
How did the manufacturers allow you to write your own code into the chip?
You don't need a permission to write your...
No?
No. You just have access to the chip. They give you some guidelines how to access the chip, and you work with them directly. So we work directly with the manufacturer of the chip.
Because for example, for Visa or something, the manufacturers actually have the private key and they load it there.
Yep.
So you managed to convince them to not do that and allow you to
It's totally different because Visa and MasterCard, they give their own applets. Applets means software that they made. So you can use these applets only by a proof of Visa, MasterCard. So if you talk about the manufacturers, they give you the empty chip. We don't have anything on that. We don't have Visa, MasterCard on that because that can happen only if you are certified by Visa and MasterCard, and it's a long process and a very expensive process. So in this case, we just have like, let's say it's a small computer with its own algorithm that can be run by. So, and little different programs can be run simultaneously. We have made a program that is a hardware wallet. If we integrate Visa and MasterCard, that will be another program on the same chip that can be run simultaneously in parallel.
Just like in Ledger, you have like space
Different
for
apps,
multiple
exactly.
applications.
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. Any more questions? No? Then thank you very much. This was quite insightful and super interesting project.